Hey guys, it's Adam with Water Rock Farming, coming at you here at the farm with our high tonal rice system here. We're going to be planting a cover crop inside here, and we are really excited to be able to get this going because we did this cover crop, the same type of soil mixture and everything from last year, and it's just been adding some great nutrition to the soil, great carbon. It was a really success last year. We did do a torch way to kind of emit it, like to get rid of it, but we're gonna want this year to be a little bit different. I want to try to capture as much green manure as possible from this cover crop, so I want to be able to get the cover crop started, grow it up, crimp it down, and then cover it with a tarp or a weed barrier, and then plant directly into that weed barrier. So we're going to cut holes and then put the plants inside there, so we don't have to worry about having to mow any of like the additional cover crops or weeds or anything like that. It's going to grow around there. So this way it should be allowing microbes to be fed to the dirt, and we should get a nice good top layer of soil growing, which is very important for the type of dirt that we have here. So the cover crop that we're going to be using, it's from a great company called Great Basin Seed. They're right out of Utah. That's the only place I really buy my seeds from. As you can see there, it's a cover crop mixture. This is what the bag looks like when you get it. It's a soil builder cover crop mix, which literally just nails everything that we need right now. So we got dacoin radishes as the highest mixture. It's almost 30% dacoin radish. We got a common vetch there, 19.6 coming second. Then we got also a crimson clover. This crimson clover is annual, meaning it only comes back once a year. And then we also got flax inside this mix, which is at a 14.83, close to 15%. And it's a brown flax. It's going to last 1 year again. You know, all of these are just annuals. And then a triticale mix in there at about 10%, 9.58. And then a sun hemp at 5%. And peas, which are kind of cool, because they add nitrogen to the soil. They have a natural bacteria on them, and it produces nitrogen. So I highly recommend Great Basin Seed and this cover crop mix that they have. We used it last year, and it's been really good. And you can even still see some of the debris from last year inside our soil here, which I'll show you. All of this beautiful carbon in our soil, that's all here. You see all the sticks and stems and all that stuff. Not only does this add to be a soil cover, it also adds and feeds microbes and insulates and holds moisture for the ground, which is very important when we're out here in the desert the way we farm. We need that type of stuff. But we also need soil because we have so much rocks going on here. We have rocks here, rocks there, rocks everywhere. So any sort of thing that we could do to kind of get a nice good top layer of soil growing inside, like on top of all these rocks, is important. But here we've been very successful in getting our soil built. It's a little dry right now, and the reason is because we're trying to kill off the weeds as much as possible right now. So I pulled out all our drip lines, pulled out any sort of watering, and just allowing that to go, all except for this little patch here in the corner, which is another experiment that I'm doing here. This is going to be a barley that I'm growing. The barley, it's growing nicely right now. It's probably about a month out or so. So I'm going to let it do its thing while I also plant the cover crop on the side. And ideally, this should be ready to be harvested. I'm going to be able to harvest this and then roll everything in, including the cover crop. That's the kind of objective that we're going for this year. We're taking a break off of hemp right now just for this year, and we're going to do barley, and we're going to do hops, and then also our normal things is tomatoes and peppers and maybe some greens too. And we're going to see how it grows. We're going to see how it grows, and we're going to see how this system that we're kind of adding in and adapting are getting some really good dirt, like I showed you before, full of carbon, those roots and everything, dead plant matter that's just going to feed all the positive microbes. And once this gets a little bit of water, we get some really good texture to it as well. That dirt is just, it holds together and it looks amazing. So it is a little dusty right now, but again, we're just trying to dry it and everything out. We have a pretty cool type of irrigation system that works a lot like a drip line. We're going to roll it out, and it's like a drip line that's poked with a bunch of little holes in it, so it sprinklers out and it just fans all this water all throughout this whole plot. So a couple of the lines just going out will be able to water this whole thing for us off of like an 1.5 inch flat line tube that we have. So I'm really excited to try this again, and we are using impact implement device for ATVs, a Cultipacker. That's the closest thing I could find to any sort of Crimp roller. The reviews are a little bit poor because the bits are plastic, which I'll show you in the next part, but they're not making anything that I want exactly for crimp rolling to help organic growers to be able to grow. This is our little plot here. I didn't do any sort of tilling. Only thing I did was use a de-weeding mechanism and just kind of scrape the weeds away, which does the job a little bit, but honestly tilling would be a lot better. You can see like there's still a lot of shrub here. Like, see this? Those things will grow right back, you know, and those things are hidden from behind the rocks and behind everything else, but it's a cover crop and we're planning on just covering all of this anyways with the cover crop. After we grow the cover crop, we're gonna just roll over with the ATV and that Cultipacker and just pack it down, and then put a weed barrier over top of it. All right guys, so we just got done putting down the seeds here, and also some compost. We haven't rolled anything in yet. We haven't put the we haven't used the Cultipacker yet to set the seeds in or anything like that. I guess there's two different ways you could do it when you're using the Cultipacker. You could go over the ground with the Cultipacker, and then you can put the seeds down and then go over again. However, I just put the seeds down first, put some compost over it, our Hempkashi compost that we made, farm exclusive, and now we're just gonna go over it with the Cultipacker and then see how well it works. We do have a lot of rocks again, but I think that shouldn't interfere too much with the Cultipacker just pressing the seeds down into the soil along with the compost that's already on top of it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get to rocking and see how this Cultipacker works for doing our cover crop here. Alright guys, so before I start using the Cultipacker, I want to show you what the setup looks like, why it's on the quad here. You can see, this is all set up. We have like the tray here. That's where you can put like some weights, so then it actually bends down more and puts more more force, more down force. So this is the wheel that spins. It's down here, and that just goes over, and these little pegs here would just press into the soil and then push the seeds down into the dirt. I'll show you how it works here. First objective is got to turn on the quad, and then you have a little device here that controls the hydraulics. Little up-down device here. You can hear it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it moves up and down. So that's all the way up as far as it could go, so it's pretty still close to the ground, and then it drops down and it presses all the way down. And that's it when it's already fully grounded. Kind of extends that way. Let's go ahead and see what it's like in action here. All right, so again, the soil is pretty dry here. You can see, but this is what it looks like when it goes over it. You can see the little divots here in comparison to over here that I have yet to do. So hopefully it's putting enough contact in there. Again, the soil I let dry up a little bit, so this topsoil is a little dusty, but I'm hoping that's going to make it easier for it to kind of get set in. So this is the difference, and that's what it looks like. I'll show a video again after I go over it a couple more times. All right, well, finished up the packing in the seeds here, and I just kind of wanted to show you a little bit what it did to some of these daikon radishes that I showed you guys earlier in the video. This is like a remainder of a daikon radish, and it did do its job as far as kind of like stabbing it up and breaking it up, which just adds a whole bunch of, you know, good carbon to the soil that way. This was a little collard green that we left here, and it's kind of smashed it, so it looks like it's pretty well damaged. However, if we don't tarp, that stuff will still grow back, but I think it did a good job on just kind of pushing everything down in the soil. I'm hoping those seeds are well established in the ground enough to be able to make it to where it have the contact that it needs and bury it pretty well. I did about maybe 4 or 5 passes, started from this end going down that way, and then I just left it down and backed up and just kind of made my way all the way down every single time, and then did the same thing going back the other direction. And then I also turned the quad around that way just so I could get the corners and go back and forth that way. So did each direction about 4 or 5 times or so. So I think we have enough contact with the soil, and so now we're just going to get the irrigation down and get to watering. All right, so we got the irrigation all set up here. We're using what's called a lay flat hose. It's 1.5 inch hose that goes out here, and then we have little couplings that we put on there that attach to be able to put these tape on it. This one I use some of this stuff I could recycle. I use always like last year because it's plastic. We want to use as much times as we can. You can kind of see on them the little calcium deposit parts here. Those are little micro holes that are inside of this, and those micro holes are pretty, just poked by like some sort of like laser technology or whatever. It's a pretty new way of irrigating, and what it does, it just makes a sprinkler all the way across out of all like these holes here. The tape comes in different sizes as well, with the diameter as well as different hole settings, so the space of those holes would be different. This is like 1, 2, 3, and then spaced out probably about like, I think it's roughly maybe 5 or 6 inches or so, and then another set of 3 holes. You get up to 3 to 5 to even 7 holes, and the spacing will vary too depending on what your style is. This one is the smallest, least amount of holes and the largest spacing. I did it that way because I want it just to be a little bit more water conservative, and it's supposed to just spray kind of like a micro mist, so it's better than one of those impact sprinklers that go on. So I got the lines all kind of set up here. The one thing that we did have a problem is from last year using this is once the cover crop gets big, the mist won't go everywhere because it's coming from the ground here, so the cover crops will grow and then on the sides, and then that would make it to where the mist won't reach because it's going to hit the cover crop. So I put a few more lines in here. We got still a pretty good result from 3 lines last year, but this will just help to make sure that all the seeds in the ground establish right, and there's no dry spots, because you got to watch for dry spots too, as much as it was from last year. So we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy on and see how it works. All right, so this is the water system when it's on. It's still taking a while to pressurize. It has to go through and pressurize this 1.5 inch pipe, and I also got my pots on the side there on as well. So it's taking a little bit to pressurize, but you can kind of see the mist. It's coming up here, and the puddles are on the floor, and that's what you really want to pay attention to, is the little puddles on the floor and where those are at, so then you can see where your dry spots are. So you can see it's just started though, but you can see the dry spots there compared to over here. It's a little more wet. Using the line, there is a lot of like leaking that you can't really control too much. Trying to make it airtight is pretty hard, but other than that, this seems to work pretty well. I'll walk down and kind of show you guys a little more here. I don't know how well you're gonna see the sprinkling actually happening, but the water lines are spraying, and the way these ones are set up, you kind of see there's one in the middle and then two going on each side. And it's kind of a line there, and you can see the gap and the spacing and stuff too. And eventually you'll get most of those dry spots will start getting wet because the water that's going out there is going to work though. But see, it's just a little micro sprays of water throughout the whole drip line. And it goes down. And of course, the further down you go, the lower the pressure is. So because the pressure is a little lower, it's not feeding as much water. One thing you do want to pay attention to is the twists inside these lines. You see this line down here is actually flipped upside down. So somewhere around here, all the way down, the line got flipped. And so we have to go back here, shake it out, get it straight, make sure the sprinkler line is going up the right way. So we kind of just do a little whip. Like that, straighten it out, let it repressurize. Same with all the other lines. Just kind of whipping it out and getting any wrinkles out in the hose. Those will matter. And boom. Got ourselves a good watering side. So this way is not like, if we're using the impact sprinklers can only do circles. So we just have like circle plants going all the way there, and also just a waste of water spraying out of each side. Where this one's just a lot more even and very good for rectangular plots. So we'll let it pressurize up here a little bit. Some of the lines here, see this one's down. Okay, to whip. I'll fix that. So I'll take another video once it's fully pressurized and show you guys how it looks. All right, so it's been about a half hour since we turned on the water system. And you can see there's some puddles here in the front. It's always going to be more pressure in the front, so you're going to get more water that way. And then as far as you go back, it's going to be decreasing. Still got some dry spots in some areas. Some of the lines, that just the water jets aren't hitting them directly, but if you probably get this type of hose, this type of irrigation, flat line, mister, I believe, somewhere along the lines that being called that. You can also get some that are a lot closer together and a lot more holes too. But again, I just like to conserve water as much as possible, and being here in the desert. Even with the dry spots that are around here, the amount of lines, the amount of spots that are making puddles is going to be enough to be able to get the cover crop established, so I'm not really worried about that. I am worried that the Cultipacker didn't pack the seeds down far enough down, or enough on top of it, because now that the water's on, the soil that was covering them is coming off. You could see some of the seeds, those yellow spots. Those are the radishes, I believe, and those are just showing a lot now. So I'm hoping the little taproot will come out and they'll still go out in the soil and establish. So, but yeah, it just wasn't covered as well. So definitely the tining and then raking was a lot of a better way to do, but you gotta sacrifice, soil disturbance, I guess, a little bit for getting this good established crop. So yeah, you can see even back here, these lines here. I turned this one down a little bit, but it's perfect in the front, but then it kind of depletes down to a lot here where it gets still a lot of dry spots here, and it's been about a half hour or so since it's been on. But that should be fine. I mean, even the spots that are wet, those seeds all established there, they'll start growing and filling in. Yeah, the more spaced out the crop is, the bigger those plants get, and then the more squeezed in, the smaller they're going to be, but the more ground cover is going to be there. So I think it should work. I'll keep the process going here and kind of keep you guys posted as well. So just after 4 days after planting our cover crop and watering it, we begin to see results. You see in that first slide how the seed was establishing, but there was also some that hasn't quite yet established. Usually this cover crop takes about anywhere from 6 to 10 days for it to actually start sprouting and establishing, and we're seeing results a lot sooner, probably because the seeds are more on the surface. However, it does prove that using the Cultipacker still does work effectively, and so we're going to continue to be using this in our practice. You can see that there are some bald spots inside the field. However, that had nothing to do with their soil or anything like that. More of just running out of the seeds in our hopper, in our seed spreader, and having to refill that. So I would say overall a good success in our growing. And if you want to see more past this 2-week first time period that we're showing you here, feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe, as well as follow us on our Facebook at Water Rock Farming, and our Instagram as well. We'll have videos up there and pictures and everything too, some reels and all that good stuff. So feel free to follow us. The next video will show the termination process of the cover crop, and don't want to miss out on that, so go ahead and follow us, and we'll be able to keep you updated on when that's going to be released. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you enjoyed. Hey guys, we're back, and it is termination day. And just look how much this stuff is already still growing now. It's just almost full-blown summertime solstice right in May. We're getting almost 12 hours a day now, and it is just looking gorgeous. Like, look at all those white, beautiful flowers. Oh man, it's just a shame it's in the cover of the greenhouse, and so none of the pollinators could really enjoy it as much as they should. But we're pretty much just going to take the quad. The procedure is this: we're going to take the quad and then just drive right through all the way to the back door, and then loop around, and then do it again that way. And again with the Cultipacker attachment and stuff. I also kind of want to show you a little bit on the Cultipacker. This time I am going to be using some weights here. I got quite the weight to where even when it's jacked up here, it's actually causing it to sink down. But yeah, this is the Cultipacker after it's been used for a rocky field. You can see the plastic kind of like notching off a little bit and stuff, you know, but the divots are still there. And I mean, I'm not nice to this thing. I've never been nice to any of the impact implements from dealing with just the rockiest terrain, just all that soil. This is what's normal and out there in the field. The fact that it's even holding up, and this is plastic and it's been holding up and worked to be able to help plant my cover crop out in the field, that's something to say. But this tray, we're going to use this tray. Last time I did this, last time we did the Cultipacking with the seed, I didn't use a tray. And so this time we're gonna go ahead and use a tray, and I got it weighted down, and hopefully that's just gonna help to be able to kind of Cultipack / crimp the cover crop a little bit down flat. We want it all laying one way and make it easier too, so when we lay our ground cover, our weed barrier down over it, we're not gonna have to like worry about the plants going against the grain. We're gonna make the grain go this way, going all the way down, and then we're just gonna take the quad around and then pass this way again, and just kind of slowly make our way down the cover crop until it's all flattened out and all laying down that way. I'll any corner that I can't get, like back here, I'm not gonna be able to hit that corner, and so I'm probably just gonna use a Crimp Stomper that I have, which is this board over here. See if I could get over there in time. Here it is. So I haven't used this since last season here, but this is what it basically is. Some sort of like divot L, you know. I used rackets that I had some extra rackets, so that's what I put on there. This one has quite a lot of lips that are gonna be crimp things that you use, and you pretty much, let me show you if I can. Maybe I'll show you when it's in action or something like that later. Without further ado, we're gonna get on the quad and we're gonna start getting this done. I'm gonna try to give you guys a video of it from the back, dropping the Cultipacker onto it, and then maybe I'll do a couple rows, and then I'll put the camera up somewhere so then you guys could watch me just kind of do the passing things, maybe like on time-lapse or something, or I'll just like speed it up or whatever I feel like doing when it comes to it. So yeah, just stay tuned, and let's get to crimping. Oh, looks good so far. It's not crimped all the way down. There's some spots that's coming up a little bit already, I can see, but it is laid down pretty well. I mean, look at that difference. Crazy. So yeah, some of the weeds didn't crimp down as well as the actual cover crop itself, but this is that's something else. I mean, I would say that probably works, but it's not going to eliminate it, because you can see they're not crimped, they're not pinched like the way they should be. It's just laid down flat. But it's perfect for what we need to do, because we're going to just tarp it right after this. That's it. So that's how it looks right there. Maybe I'll put the video up to kind of show you guys the rest of the process of it. So let's continue. All right, so this is one pass through. Looks like the ground is pretty well crimped up. Maybe that first video I showed you that part here. Looks like some of the parts, like especially like this type of weed, the dandelion weed here, this guy, it was just not having it. Like, she just comes right back up. Look at that dacoin radish, she snapped down, she's all good, she's down. The dacoin, yeah, they crunch easy, and so they're easy to get flatted out. The oats, common veg, all that stuff is all really well flatted out. But this will start coming back, you know, it's just obvious too. You can even see how parts of it just not all the way down. Probably am going to do another pass just to make sure that everything's as flat as possible as we could possibly be. I might throw some stuff on top of it, like some humate or something like that, you know, a compost too, and just so we add a little bit more. I mean, it looked like so much when it's all up, but now it's down. It's like still only about like, I don't know, like maybe less than a ½ inch thick, and this is fresh, so once it starts breaking down, it's just enough to dress the top, and that's about it. But it's like such a small amount. But it's the best type of compost. It's a green manure, so it's just straight nitrogen really, and also just microbial food too. And it looks like it was nice enough to the crop that I am looking down here, I do see like some bugs, like there's still ladybugs that are alive here. You can kind of see her, she's crawling up there. Yep, she's still alive and stuff. So, you know, it looks like it's nice to the insects. I don't know what tarping, though, as soon as we start tarping, what that's really going to do. It might not be as nice but afterwards, but hopefully there'll still be enough gap for them to be able to get out as needed and stuff when it starts going all down. But you know, it is what it is. We'll just go ahead. I'm going to probably do another pass or so. I do have like a little spot left here, so I will show you guys how the crimp stomping works, and I'll just show that to you here shortly. All right guys, so this is just a small little part here, just a little patch here that was left in the corner. That's the only spot I didn't hit. I was expecting to have a lot more, especially with the edge and the door opening and stuff like that, but it looks like I did a pretty good job on being able to take care of most of it. The crimp stopper, again, this is what it looks like. It has the ridges, and then you just have a couple holes on the 2x4 that you will tie and use some sort of string. I use hay bale twine because we have a whole bunch of it. Might as well use what you have. So this is what you do. You step in the middle, grab a hold of it like this, and pull against your foot to keep it on your foot, and then you start just going to, and you just get to crimping. So let's see how well this works. And you can kind of guide it to lay down the direction that you want it to go. Now this does do a lot better than what the quad is doing as far as terminating, because you are making those crimped, you're crimping so it doesn't grow back, and it's cutting off the nutrients and the water to the crop. I like to go in here and like push stuff over that's from the side and like get it in here, the soil, so it's gonna break down evenly. So I'll probably come through and just kind of clean that up. But yeah, and you hear the crunching, you can see it just kind of getting it down. See that weed over here, see if we could crimp her just a little bit on the edges. Yeah, there we go. She's still trying to fight me. She's still trying to come up. Just go to bed, go to sleep. All right, so and then we got that one little patch here. Oh, let me show you here. Sure hope this video comes out all right. There we go. But yeah, just imagine having to do the whole thing this way and just slowly working yourself down to be a workout. So it's a lot easier. It took me like a couple seconds just to really hit this with the quad. it's like a couple minutes, but that right there would be probably at least an hour's worth, and also just fatiguing. So there you have it. That's how the Crimp Stomper works compared to the Cultipacker, used as a crimp roller on the ATV thing. And thanks for watching, guys. Hey, make sure you follow us and like and subscribe as much as possible so we can just keep affording to do what we do here. We really do appreciate the support, and keep watching, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. And just let me know in the comments things I could have done better, maybe other things to try out as well. Feel free to share, communitize, you know. Guys, see you next video. All right, so after you finish terminating your cover crop, the next step is to start adding compost in if you want to add compost in. If not, then it's just to cover it with your weed barrier. And in this case, we're using a weed barrier from Beaver that we got. It is patterned the way like a tarp is, where it's weaved so water can roll through it. When you're putting the plants in the ground, you want to cut it with a razor, make an X, and then get that hole the size that you need for the starter to go in. We're using starter trays, by the way. As you can see, the soil on these is looking really nice. Like the cover crop is terminated correctly. The dirt's looking great. There's plenty of microbes there that's going to be fed all through the season while we plant our cash crop in. We use a hole driller. It's a drill bit, that little auger that attaches to your drill. You drill it in there, and then you use a soil knife or a shovel to dig out the dirt. And again, you can see just how good that soil is. It's looking amazing, good proper moisture in there and everything. That's also going to be kept well too. So after you drill a hole, it should look something like that. And then you put the starters directly into the ground and package some dirt around it. And then the tarp allows with no weeds or anything's going to be growing in there but the crop that you want. So it's a demonstration done here with, we have greens there. We also have our hops growing in there. And the hops hole was also, a lot bigger since the rhizom's larger as well. So that's basically the steps that you need to know on how to do our regenerative agriculture system. And thank you guys so much for watching. Leave some comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep on communitizing.